It was early morning in the city of Owerri. A soft light was spreading across the sky as a black luxury car stood outside a five-star hotel. Inside the hotel room, Mr. Okon sat on the edge of the bed for a moment, silent. He had arrived in the country late the night before. 12 years. That was how long he had been away. He left as a young man, full of dreams, looking for a better life outside the country. Now he was back, but not as the same man who left. He was now a wealthy CEO. He looked at his watch, then slowly stood up. Today, I will go home to visit my mother, he said to himself. He had planned to go home the night before, but it was too late. So he waited till morning. A few minutes later, he walked down from the hotel. Outside, the driver was already waiting. The SUV was clean, black and shining under the morning light. The driver opened the door. "Good morning, sir," the driver said. Mr. Okon only nodded and entered the car. "Let's go," he said. The driver closed the door and got into his seat. The SUV joined the busy road. As the car moved, Mr. Okon sat at the back, looking out through the window. But his mind was not in the city. His thoughts were far away. He remembered the small house he grew up in. He remembered his mother, Mrs. Madara. He remembered his younger sister, Chida. Before he left, life was very hard, but he had always promised them something. "I will not forget both of you. I will take care of you," he had said before leaving the country. And he did, but it was not from the beginning. For the first 3 years abroad, Okon struggled hard. He worked day and night just to survive. There were days he had almost nothing left after paying his rent and feeding himself, but he never gave up. Then, things finally began to change for him. His work started to grow. He got better opportunities. Slowly, life began to open for him. That was when he started sending money home. Month after month. For about 8 to 9 years now, he never missed it. Every month, he sent money to his mother through his sister. His mother was old and did not understand banking or modern phones. She barely knew how modern technology worked. She did not even have a phone. So Okon always communicated through his sister. But after some time, things changed. His sister got married and left the family house. She no longer stayed with their mother. From that moment, it became harder for Okon to reach his mother directly. At some point, he stopped hearing her voice completely. He only spoke with his sister. And each time he called, his sister would always say the same thing. "Don't worry, mother is fine. I just visited her not long ago. She also sends her regards." Sometimes Okon would even ask her directly, "Please, whenever you go to see her, just call me so I can speak with her myself." But his sister would always find an excuse. The network there is very bad. My phone has no signal. Sometimes calls don't go through in that area. At times, she would even say, "I tried to call you while I was there, but it was not connecting." And just like that, Okon would have no choice but to believe her. He believed they were doing well. He believed they were safe. He believed they were living in comfort now since he had been sending them money every month. That belief stayed in his heart all the way until this morning. As the SUV drove through traffic, his eyes moved slowly across the roadside. Then suddenly, he saw something that made him sit up straight. At first, he was not sure. He looked again. A woman was sitting close to the roadside, old, tired, holding a small bowl in her hands. She was asking for help. Okon's heart slowed. He leaned closer to the window. As the car got nearer, he strained his eyes, trying hard to see the woman more clearly from a distance. No, that face, he said under his breath. He quickly tapped the driver's seat. "Stop the car," he said sharply. The driver slowed down at once and pulled over. Okon did not wait. He opened the door and stepped out fast. The noise of the road faded in his ears. His eyes stayed on the woman. He walked closer, step by step. Then he stopped. His face went still. It was his mother, Mrs. Madara. She sat there, weak, holding the bowl close to her chest. Her clothes were old and worn out. Her body looked like she had not eaten well for many years. Okon's mouth opened, but no words came out at first. Then he spoke, slowly, "Mother!" The woman lifted her head. Her eyes met his. For a moment, she did not move. Then her hands shook. "Okon?" she said in a low voice. Tears filled her eyes as she tried to stand, but her legs could not hold her well. Okon quickly rushed forward and held her. "Don't stand, please, don't stand yet," he said quickly. He looked around, confused and upset. "Why are you here? What happened?" Mrs. Madara tried to speak, but her voice was weak. Before she could finish, Okon gently helped her up. "Come with me," he said. He guided her carefully back to the SUV. People on the road watched quietly. Okon helped his mother into the car and sat beside her. She was still trembling, tears in her eyes, overwhelmed by the shock of seeing the son she had not seen for 12 years. Okon looked at the driver. "Turn around," he said, "to the nearest hospital." The driver did not ask questions. He turned immediately. As the SUV pulled back into traffic, Okon held his mother's hand tightly, but in his mind, one question kept repeating. If I have been sending money all these years, then why is my mother like this? At the hospital, Mr. Okon sat in the reception area, waiting. His mother had been taken into the examination room earlier. His mind would not rest. After some time, a doctor walked out and came to meet him. "Are you the one who brought in the elderly woman?" the doctor asked. "Yes, doctor. She is my mother," Okon replied. The doctor nodded. "There is no serious illness," he said. "However, we need to admit her today until tomorrow morning for proper treatment and observation." "Please, go ahead with the treatment," Okon said quickly. The doctor gave a slight nod. "All right, we will begin immediately." He turned and walked away. Not long after, Mrs. Madara was moved into a ward and treatment started at once. Okon remained in the waiting area, his eyes fixed on the direction they had taken her. After several minutes, the doctor passed by again. Okon stood up at once and walked toward him. "Doctor, how is she?" he asked. The doctor gave a calm, reassuring look. "Don't worry, she will be fine," he said. "We have started treatment and she is responding well." Okon let out a quiet breath. "Thank you, doctor," he said. "Can I see her?" "Of course you can go in now," the doctor replied. Okon nodded and walked into the ward. His mother lay on the bed, asleep. She looked weak. Okon stood there for a moment, just looking at her. So many questions filled his mind, but this was not the time. She needed rest. He quietly stepped back and sat on the chair beside her bed. After a few minutes, he brought out his phone and called his sister. The phone rang and rang, but she did not pick up. He tried again. Still, no answer. Okon looked at the phone for a moment. "I already told her I was coming back to the country, so she knows I'm here. But is that why she's not picking my calls?" he said quietly. He leaned back in the chair. His eyes returned to his mother. His face was full of pain and confusion. How did it get to this? He asked himself. Why would my own sister do this? The room was quiet. The sound of the machine beside the bed was steady. The next morning, Mrs. Madara opened her eyes slowly. She looked around the room. Then she turned her head. Her eyes fell on someone sitting beside her bed. She looked again. It was Okon. It was really him. He was there, asleep in the chair. For a moment, she just stared at him, still, silent. Her heart was full. She slowly sat up. "Okon," she called softly. Okon moved slightly and opened his eyes. He looked up. "Mother, you are awake," he said. She reached out her hand and gently touched his face. "My son, is it really you?" she said, her voice shaking. "Or am I just dreaming?" Mrs. Madara kept looking at him. Tears filled her eyes. "I've missed you." Okon gave a soft smile. "It's me, Mother," he said gently. "I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. Not anymore." Mrs. Madara shook her head slowly. My son," she said, holding his hand. At that moment, the doctor walked into the room. "Good morning," he said. Okon stood up. "Good morning, doctor." The doctor checked Mrs. Madara carefully. After a moment, he nodded. "You are doing well, Ma," he said. "You are fine now. You can go home today." Mrs. Madara gave a small nod. "Thank you, doctor," she said softly. "You are welcome," the doctor replied. That morning, after she was discharged, they left the hospital. Okon helped her into the car, but instead of going home, he took her to a quiet restaurant. They sat down. Food was placed before them. Mrs. Madara looked at the food for a moment before she began to eat. She ate slowly at first, then a bit faster. It was clear she had not had a proper meal in a long time. Okon watched her. His heart was heavy. After a while, she also looked up at him. There was confusion on her face. "My son," she said softly, "how are you able to take care of yourself over there?" Okon looked at her, surprised. She continued. "How did you even come back home?" she asked. "Chida told me you were not doing well. She said you were stranded." Okon's hand stopped. "What?" he asked. Mrs. Madara nodded slowly. "She told me things have been hard for you," she added gently. "That is why I have not received any money from you for about 3 years now." She paused for a moment, then spoke again, her voice softer. "And I could no longer continue my business because of my age," she said quietly. Okon's eyes widened. "For 3 years," he repeated. "Yes," she said. "After your sister got married and left the house, things became harder for me." Okon leaned back. His mind was racing. "I have been sending money every month," he said, his voice low but firm. "I never stopped, not even once." Mrs. Madara looked at him, confused. "My son, it has been a long while since anything reached me," she said quietly. Okon shook his head. "I called Chida many times," he said. "Many times in a month, especially each time I sent your monthly upkeep. But each time, she told me you were fine." They both went quiet. The truth began to settle between them. Slowly, painfully. Okon looked away. Now it made sense. The missed calls, the excuses, the same words every time. "Don't worry, Mother is fine." Mrs. Madara held her chest. "You mean—" she started but could not finish. Okon nodded slowly. Neither of them wanted to say it, but they both understood. Chida had been lying for years. They sat there in silence. After some time, Okon stood up. "Mama, let's go," he said gently. He helped his mother up and led her back to the car. Before getting to the hotel, they stopped at a clothing shop where ready-made clothes were sold. He gently led her inside and asked her to pick what she liked. She looked at the expensive clothes in the shop and then turned to her son. "My son, are you sure? These clothes look very expensive," she said quietly. He smiled warmly. "Mama," he said, "I am here now to take care of you myself. Nothing is too expensive for my mother." She smiled for the first time in many years. Slowly, she began to choose a few simple but beautiful dresses, picking each one carefully. He paid for everything, and the shop attendants packed all the dresses into bags. As they left the clothing shop and settled into the car, Mr. Okon leaned back for a moment, his mind heavy with thoughts. He turned to his mother. "Mama, did you say you have not seen Chida for over 3 years?" he asked quietly. Mrs. Madara let out a deep sigh. "My son," she began slowly, her voice filled with sadness. "I don't know what happened to your sister. She changed after her marriage." She paused, shaking her head gently. "She has not come to see me for more than 3 years now," she continued. "They even moved out of their former house. And she did not tell me." Okon's brows tightened. "It was when I went there myself to check on them that I found out they had already left," she added softly. Okon breathed out slowly. He murmured. Then he spoke again. "The reason I asked is because 2 years ago, I was sending her money to build a modern house," he said. "On a piece of land I also sent her money to buy for me." Mrs. Madara turned to look at him, confused. Okon brought out his phone. He opened his gallery and began scrolling. "These are the pictures she was sending to me," he said. He showed her image after image. From the foundation, to the rising walls, to the roofing, until the building looked complete. Mrs. Madara stared at the screen, her eyes wide. "This," she whispered. Okon swallowed. "I was on my way to that house yesterday when I saw you," he said. "I believed you were already living there." Silence filled the car. Then suddenly, Mrs. Madara broke down in tears. "What happened to my daughter?" she cried. "How did the child I carried for 9 months become so heartless toward her own mother?" Her voice shook deeply. "All these years, I believed you were the one suffering," she continued. "I've been crying to God to bless my children." Tears rolled freely down her face. "I did not know God had already answered my prayers," she said. Okon moved closer and held her gently. "Mama, it's okay," he said softly. "It's all over now." He held her hand firmly. "I'm here now," he added. "We are going to that place. I want to see what she did with the house I sent her money to build for you." The car moved forward again. They drove for a long time, almost 2 hours. Finally, they arrived at the location. Okon stepped out of the car. "Mama, please stay inside," he said gently. She nodded. Okon looked around slowly. His eyes searched the area. His face began to change. He took a few steps forward, then stopped. "This place," he muttered under his breath. He looked again, then again. His heart began to beat faster. "Is this not the land Cheetah bought?" he said quietly to himself. But there was nothing there. No building, no blocks, no sign of construction, just empty land, covered with tall grasses. Okon walked a little further down the street, checking carefully. He looked at nearby houses, landmarks. Everything matched. This was the place. He slowly brought out his phone again and dialed Cheetah's number. It rang once, twice, 3 times. No answer. His jaw tightened. He stood still for a moment. Then he turned and walked back to the car. He opened the door and sat beside his mother. He let out a deep sigh. "Mama," he said slowly, "I don't even know what to think right now." She looked at him with worried eyes. "The land is empty," he said. "There's nothing there. No house, nothing, just grass." Mrs. Madara covered her mouth. Tears rushed down her face again. "My God!" she cried softly. Okon gently held her shoulders. "Mama, please, don't cry," he said. "For your health. I don't want your blood pressure to rise." She nodded slowly, trying to control herself. She murmured weakly as she wiped her tears. Okon leaned back in his seat, his mind working fast. Right there, he brought out his phone again. He searched for a service department. Within minutes, he found a good one. He made a reservation immediately. "Mama, you will stay somewhere comfortable for now," he said. The driver started the car. They drove to the apartment. When they arrived, Okon stepped out and helped his mother inside. The place was neat, quiet, and well arranged. Everything was already prepared. Food, clean bed, running water, a peaceful space. Okon turned to her. "You will rest here," he said gently. "Everything you need will be provided." Mrs. Madara looked around slowly. Tears filled her eyes again, but this time they were softer. "My son," she said. Okon held her hand. "I am here now," he said firmly. But deep inside him, a storm was building, because now he knew one thing for sure. This was no mistake. Cheetah had something to answer for. After many failed calls, Mr. Okon sat quietly in his hotel room. He looked at his phone again. Still nothing. No reply to his messages. No call back. Then he remembered that he had sent his sister money to register and set up her event planning business. He shook his head slowly as an idea settled in his mind. He placed the phone on the table and leaned back. Then he had an idea on how to reach his sister. A few weeks later, far away from the hotel in another part of Owerri, in her office, Cheetah received a call. "Good afternoon, Ma," the caller said. My boss wants to plan a big event. He was told you are the best person for the job. Cheetah sat up with interest. A big event? She asked. Yes, Ma, a very important one. He would like to meet you in person. All right, she said. When and where? There is a quiet restaurant in town. I will send you the address. He will meet you there this evening. Cheetah paused for a moment. Then she nodded to herself. Okay, I will be there, she said. That evening, Cheetah arrived at the restaurant. It was calm and well arranged. Soft music played in the background. She looked around and saw a man sitting at a table, dressed in a neat suit. He stood up as she walked closer. Good evening, Ma, he said. Good evening, Cheetah replied as she sat down. My boss will be joining us shortly, the man said. Cheetah nodded. All right, let's wait. They exchanged a few words about the supposed event, but after a short while, the man's phone buzzed. He looked at it and stood up. Excuse me, Ma, I will be back, he said. Okay, Cheetah replied. He walked away. Cheetah sat alone at the table. A few seconds passed. Then she felt a presence behind her. A voice spoke. Good evening, Cheetah. Her body froze. That voice. Slowly she turned. Her eyes met his. Okon. He stood there, looking straight at her. Cheetah could not move. Her heart began to beat fast. Brother, she said, her voice low and unsure. Okon pulled out a chair and sat down calmly. Yes, he said. Cheetah looked around, confused. Then it hit her. It was a setup. Okon leaned slightly forward. You refuse to answer my calls, he said. Cheetah looked down. I have been busy, she started. Okon stopped her. Don't dare, he said firmly. Cheetah swallowed. Okon reached into his pocket and brought out his phone. I want you to listen carefully, he said. He pressed something on the phone and placed it on the table. A voice began to play. It was Cheetah's voice. Don't worry, Mother is fine. I just visited her not long ago. She also sends her regards. Cheetah's eyes widened. She looked at him. Okon did not look away. I have many of these, he said. The recording stopped. Silence again. Okon's voice became heavier. You always assured me that Mother was fine, but guess who I found on the roadside weeks ago, he said. Our mother. She was on the street, begging for food. Cheetah's lips parted, but no words came out. She was hungry, Okon continued, weak, alone. Tears gathered in Cheetah's eyes. I have been sending money every month, Okon said, for years. I never missed it. He leaned closer. So tell me, Cheetah, where did the money go? I didn't mean for things to get like this, she said. Okon's eyes stayed fixed on her. But it did, he replied. She shook her head slowly. I can explain, she said in a low voice. Okon looked at her, his face serious. Then start explaining right now, he said in a harsh voice. The room went quiet again. Cheetah's lips trembled. For a moment, no words came out. Okon watched her carefully, his eyes fixed on her, his face set with controlled anger. Cheetah, talk to me, he said, his voice sharp. Tears slipped down her face. It's not as simple as you think, she said. Okon leaned back slightly. Then help me understand, he replied. Cheetah drew in a deep breath, trying to steady herself. My husband, she began, then paused, as if the words themselves were heavy. Okon did not interrupt. At the beginning of our marriage, everything was fine, she continued quietly. He was kind, patient, responsible. I believed I'd made the right choice. She gave a faint, broken smile. But after some years, things started to change. Not suddenly, just little by little. Okon's gaze remained fixed on her. He began to take interest in everything, she said. How I spent money, who I spoke to, even small decisions. She wiped her face. At first, I didn't think much of it, I thought. Maybe it was just concern. She paused. But it didn't stop there. Her voice dropped. He started insisting that as my husband, he should be the one handling all the money that comes into the house. Ocon's expression hardened slightly, but he remained silent. When you sent money, she continued, he would ask about it. At first, he only wanted to know how much. Then, he began to demand access. She looked down at her hands. I resisted in the beginning, she said. I told him it was meant for my mother, that it was your effort. She shook her head slowly. He didn't see it that way. A quiet pause settled between them. He would say things like, everything that comes into this house belongs to this house. Ocon exhaled slowly, his jaw tightening. Cheetah continued, her voice unsteady. Over time, he gained access to my phone, my bank app, everything. He stopped me from going to the bank to access my account. Her fingers trembled slightly. I lost control over my account. Ocon looked at her more closely now. The money you sent for Mother, for the house, she said, her voice breaking. He took it. She closed her eyes briefly. He used it for his own plans, his own needs, things I could not question. I lived in fear, she added softly. She looked up at Ocon. He would always remind me that if I went against him, if I exposed anything, he would end the marriage. Her voice dropped even further. And he would take the children with him. Ocon's expression changed. That part landed heavily. I didn't know what to do, Cheetah said. I kept thinking, maybe I could fix things quietly. Maybe it would get better. She shook her head slowly. But it never did. Tears rolled down her cheeks. And the more time passed, the worse everything became. Ocon said nothing. I knew what was happening to Mother was wrong, she continued, her voice filled with pain. I knew it every single day. She pressed her lips together, but I was already trapped. A long silence followed. Then she spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. I could not tell you, because I knew you would confront him. She looked directly at Ocon now, and if you did, it would have destroyed everything. Ocon's eyes did not leave hers. My marriage, my children's home, she said. Everything would have fallen apart. Her shoulders dropped, so I kept quiet, even when I shouldn't have. Tears streamed down her face now without restraint. It is all my fault, she said. Ocon's expression shifted slightly. I saw what was happening, she continued. I knew it was wrong, but I stayed. Her voice broke completely. I was too afraid to walk away from a man who was slowly destroying my family. The words hung heavily in the air. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Ocon leaned back slowly, taking everything in. The anger that had filled him earlier was no longer as sharp. Now it was mixed with something deeper, understanding, pain, and a quiet disappointment. He looked at his sister again. Really looked at her. Not just at her words, but at the weight she had been carrying. And for the first time since this confrontation began, the situation no longer looked as simple as betrayal. Moments later, Ocon stood up slowly. He looked at Cheetah for a moment. Come with me. I want you to see our mother, he said quietly. Cheetah hesitated for a brief second, then nodded. All right, she said. They left the restaurant together and got into the car. The journey was quiet. No music, no conversation, only silence between them. But it was not an empty silence. It was heavy. Each of them was thinking deeply in their own way, trying to understand everything that had just been revealed. After a while, the car pulled into the apartment building. Ocon got down first and led the way inside. Cheetah followed behind him slowly, almost uncertain of what she would see next. They walked through the lobby and took the stairs. Neither of them spoke. When they reached the room, Ocon paused for a moment before opening the door. He turned the handle gently and pushed it open. Inside, Mrs. Madara was resting quietly on the bed. For a second, Cheetah just stood still at the doorway. She did not move. She did not speak. She simply looked. Then something inside her broke. "Mother," she whispered. Her voice shook. Before anyone could say another word, she rushed forward and dropped to her knees beside the bed. Tears came immediately. "Mother, forgive me," she said, holding her hand tightly. "Please forgive me." Mrs. Madara opened her eyes fully, startled by the sudden emotion in the room. "Chida," she said slowly, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Chida shook her head repeatedly, unable to stop crying. "I'm sorry, Mother," she said. I failed you completely." Mrs. Madara sat up a little, her expression softening. "Calm yourself, my child," she said gently. "Breathe first." But Chida could not calm down easily. Her words came out broken. "I should have taken better care of you," she said. "I should have protected you. I should have done something." As Chida cried, she began to repeat and explain everything she had earlier told Mr. Okon, speaking through tears about how her husband became controlling, took over her bank account, threatened to end the marriage if she disobeyed him, moved them away from their former house so no one could trace them, and how he had been physically abusive toward her, leaving her broken emotionally as she finally showed them the bruises on her back and the hidden marks all over her body. Silence followed those words. Okon, who had been standing a few steps away, exhaled slowly. Mrs. Madara closed her eyes briefly, as if absorbing the weight of everything she was hearing. Then she opened them again. "My child," she said quietly, "what has happened is painful, but do not carry all of it on your shoulders alone." Chida shook her head, tears still falling. "It is still my fault," she insisted. "I saw what was happening, and I stayed." Okon finally stepped forward. "Enough," he said firmly, but not harshly. Both women turned to look at him. He took a breath, trying to control his emotions. His voice softened slightly as he looked at Chida. "I need you to understand something clearly," he said. "What happened to you was not acceptable. The only part you can be blamed for is that you did not speak up. You chose to protect an abusive marriage that was already breaking apart. You allowed your mother to suffer while trying to protect something you were already losing. Who told you it was a good idea to stay in an abusive marriage? And when he threatened to take your children away, did you forget that you also had the right to take legal action?" He paused. "And what was done to Mother was not acceptable." Chida lowered her head. Okon stood there for a moment, silent. His jaw tightened. Not in anger now, but in deep thought. When he spoke again, his voice was calmer. "I saw Mother on the roadside," he said slowly, "and I still can't erase that image from my mind." A quiet pain passed through his face. "And now I understand. It wasn't just neglect. It was something deeper." The room became silent again. Mrs. Madara slowly placed her hand over both of theirs. "I am alive today," she said gently, "and both of you are here with me. That is what matters now." Chida wiped her face slowly, still trembling. For the first time, her breathing began to steady. The next morning, Okon did not wait any longer. He went straight to the authorities with Chida's statement and the supporting evidence they had gathered. After a formal review of the case, the police opened an investigation into allegations of domestic violence, threats and intimidation, theft, fraud, and unauthorized access to a bank account. The husband was arrested later that day. He was taken into custody for questioning, and the evidence presented confirmed a pattern of sustained abuse and financial exploitation. Following investigation and court proceedings, he was found guilty and convicted on multiple counts, including domestic violence/assault, threats and intimidation, theft of funds belonging to the family, and money sent for maternal support, fraud and financial abuse through misappropriation of entrusted money, unauthorized access, and control of a bank account without consent. The court sentenced him accordingly, with imprisonment and restitution orders issued for the stolen funds. In the aftermath, there was no celebration in the family, only silence. But it was different now. It was no longer silence from fear. It was silence from healing. For Chida, it marked the end of years of captivity. For Okon, it was the burden of justice finally carried through to completion. And for Mrs. Madara, it was the first real sense of safety she had felt in a very long time. In the days that followed, life began to change. Slowly but surely. Ocon bought a new house, a quiet, comfortable home where his family could finally feel safe again. On the day they moved in, Mrs. Madara stood at the entrance and looked around in silence. Tears filled her eyes. "My son, is this truly for us?" she asked. Ocon smiled. "Yes, mother. This is our home now." Chida stood beside her, holding her hand. "We are starting again," she said softly. Mrs. Madara nodded. "A new beginning," she replied. Peace returned to their lives. Real peace. Ocon made a decision to stay close this time, not just to provide, but to be present. They ate together, talked together, and shared simple moments that now meant everything. Sometimes in the evenings, they sat together and reflected on how far they had come. Gratitude replaced pain. Ocon also supported Chida's work and offered to sponsor her children's education. This story reminds us that blind trust can cause great harm. Always make sure your loved ones are truly okay. If Ocon had questioned things earlier and looked deeper, he might have discovered his mother's condition sooner. If this story spoke to you in any way, I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Share your opinion in the comments section. I'll be reading through your messages. Another powerful and emotional story will be coming your way in a few days. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it when it drops. If you enjoyed this story, kindly like the video and share it with your friends. You never know who might learn something from it. Thank you for watching and spending your time here.